Hello, my name is Lily Rimmer. I'm the mother of Robert Rimmer that many years ago was accused of a heinous crime that I don't believe he committed. Robert is the second of three sons that I have. He's always been a very good kid. Of course, we all have our faults, but his good qualities far outweigh his bad qualities or faults that he has. Robert was always the one that held the family together. If there was a problem between his brothers, he handled it. If there was a problem between his brothers, one of his brothers and I, he handled it. He was always a mediator. He was never, ever an instigator in anything. He was a good kid. In elementary school, he was above average. He was always assisting his teachers, even in elementary school, which was very complimentary and fundamental to him. Robert has 3 natural-born children, and he has not adopted, but accepted a daughter that his wife had before they were together. He mentored, he cared for her just like she was a child of her own. He was always doing things with her, always going to parent-teachers conferences. He just did everything as an exceptional parent he would be. That was important to me because Robert was concerned as the kind of parent he would be, being that there was dissension in his household between his parents. But he just rose to the occasion when it came to the one daughter that he acquired when he and his wife got together. Robert has always spoken the truth and honesty with his children when they were out of place or wrong. He straightened them. He was not a parent that liked to put hands on, like spanking his children, but he talked to them to make them see where they did wrong, what they did right, and to correct them and redirect them in a good path. A very good parent for those children. Now, on the day in question, Robert was accused, as I said, of a very heinous crime. It was impossible for Robert to have been there. He had, at that point, a witness that stated that he was out fishing at the time this crime was considered, and he left out much earlier than that. It was Robert, an elderly co-worker that he was working with, Robert's son, and Robert's nephew that was all there. They got back home about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At that time, I was home, but shortly after that, I went to work and nothing else. Robert was not good at hiding something that if he did wrong. So in my heart of hearts, I believe that Robert was unjustly accused of this crime and whatever. When he went to trial, I think that if I had had money and been able to afford a private attorney and not a public defender for him, I think he would have had a much better case or defense for the thing. They did not, the public defender did not do as much as they could have to assist Robert. The people, the detective, they were so erroneous in a lot of their alleged evidence. In the trial journey, you can see where nobody could pick Robert out. The detective pointed to this Robert's picture in a photo lineup and says, take a good look at this guy. This is the guy that was said was there. The witnesses stated that they could not say that for sure, but the detective just kept on pointing, indicating Robert. Also, the detective that was investigating had Robert as the only person in the lineup out of the photo ID. So with seeing his photo ID and then putting him in the lineup, it just clicked in their head that that must be, but nobody else that was in the photo lineup was put in the actual lineup with Robert. And I think that was the first thing that they did wrong. They also accused Robert of packing a lot of stuff into his car. He had a very small car, and there's no way that whatever was taken could have fit in that car because it was a small little two-seater, and it could not have put all that product in there. I don't know exactly how he got the stuff into the storage unit that he did rent. Perhaps somebody said they had this, or someone could have been gathering material to take and sell at what they term a swap shop there. I don't know how he came across it, and I had not had a chance to ask Robert, because when I visit him, whether in the city or county jail, I think they have the place bugged, and I did not want him to incriminate. Since he did not do it on his own, I did not want him to incriminate anybody else, but it would have been better for the two of us. Even with the vehicle that he was allegedly used in this crime, there were two others that had the same defect that Robert's car had, and nobody bothered to investigate and find the other two vehicles, even though they had the tag number of another vehicle with the same defect that the car that Robert was driving had. I was also extremely upset when his trial started. I went down to the courthouse. They escorted me out of the courtroom. They said I could not be in the courtroom because they didn't want me to hear the testimony of anybody else, because I would be called as a witness. So there's my child sitting in this courtroom all by himself, not a soul there to support him. He had all the defendants, the victims' families there. He had the prosecutor. He had a public defender that I still do not believe his best interest was in this public defender's thing. There were several things that came up in this trial that were wrong, that if they had addressed them, I think the outcome of the trial perhaps would have been differently. The way I got news that my son was guilty and they were going to give him the death penalty was over the telephone when he called me that night after the determination was made. And that was very hurtful, very stressful, and extremely painful to deal with. Robert is my son. I love him, and it's been quite stressful and tenuous being without him for the last 20 years. overturning of the death row situation up there, we feel very hopeful that something is going to happen, and maybe someplace, somehow, he will be exonerated on this, and whoever the real culprits are will be brought to justice, and that will exonerate him. And again, I'm hoping that someplace down the line, before he gets too much older, that they will come across the culprits that are responsible for this crime, and that he will get home and see I'm still alive, and while his children are still young enough to appreciate him. I'm not happy with his lawyers, because I really don't think they did. His appeal lawyers are doing some work. They're filing appeals, but again, they're not addressing some of the things that Robert would like to have them addressed in there. And he doesn't know why they're not addressing them, and I don't know why they're not addressing him. But we're hoping. What I would hope for, again, is to have the person that's responsible for this, because they know who they are, and that they will come forward and exonerate my son from there. He's been there long enough. And I would just like some relief for him. I would really just like relief for him, so that he can get back to some form of normalcy. And he was in school. He on his jobs, he was very well liked. Everybody liked him. Everybody appreciated him, his mannerism, and even after he was arrested for this, I was getting calls saying, I can't believe this can't be true, and I agreed with them at the same time. But I would just like for him to get some relief and come back home where he belongs. Anything else? Let's just... It's been over 20 years, and it doesn't get any easier, you know? It just doesn't get easier. And you know what upsets me? That if whoever Robert got that stuff from to store it, I don't know if he asked questions, I don't know what, but whoever he got the merchandise from, I think that he should have said, go to this person, talk to this person, but he won't do it. He just will not do it, and that is so infuriating to me. It really is. Why are you going to take the fall for somebody else, somebody that did something, and you're paying the cost for it, your family, your schooling, your job? Everything is wasted because he's trying to, he is covering or not pointing a finger at somebody else, but he has never been one to rat out anybody. Never, ever, ever. And that still, to this day, that still hurts. And it hurts also, I don't want anybody financially doing anything for me, but just somebody that would come by and say, do you need your car washed? Is there something wrong with your car? Or do the kids need anything? That would have been grateful to me. But whoever is responsible, and I swear, I believe that Rob does know, but he just won't put the names out there. That's just the kind of person he is. And it just hurts. Even now, like I said, even after 20 some odd years, he won't do it. And he's going to go to his grave with that secret as to who did it. And nobody cares about him or his family that he left behind while they go ahead and continue with their own family and their life. It just hurts. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's going to be okay. God's going to take care of him. He has this long and he will go ahead. And if it's meant to be, God will get him back home to me.
We pray for that.
And it probably means more to me being here with you all than it does for you with me being here. It's just good to be around people that have an idea of the person that he is and wants to help him. It just does. It just means so. You will never know. If you live to be 200 years old, you'll never know how that warms my heart. And I told you this many times in text. It does me good to know that somebody cares and somebody thinks he's a decent person.
We never stop. Never. You are so courageous.
Not really. Hurt. Really hurts. And again, it has not gotten easier. It's still just like this happened last week or so. The hurt is still there.